So I wanted to share some herpes disclosure tips. Um, and my thing with disclosing, there's no right or wrong way to do it as long as you're doing it before you do it. You're good. You can do it through text, you can do it in person, like whatever feels more comfortable for you, do it that way. No right or wrong. I think it's most important to do it with confidence, even if you're faking that confidence, just like pretend that you're like you are the hottest person ever, but like actually make yourself believe it, and people will pick up on that energy, so don't apologize, don't be like, oh my god, I have this really bad thing to tell you, because it's not bad, it's normal, and it's just informing them. The way I always start the conversation, though, is by asking them when they've been tested last, because it's not just me disclosing. This is just an open conversation about our health, and their health is just as important as mine. Just because I have something doesn't mean it's like a free for all. I can be with whoever, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm still very, like, adamant about my health, obviously. So it also takes the asking them first takes the pressure off of you for a little bit, so you can kind of be like, okay, like you can let them go first. Um, and it's also going to be very telling. Like if they're like, oh, I don't get tested, or like, it's been a while," or like, "I'm clean," red flag, bye, not worth my time. But if they're gonna be like clearly like educated on like, oh, I got tested like after my last partner, like I tested negative for everything, and then kind of go from there. I also always mention when I'm disclosing that after they're like, oh, I got tested for everything. I'm like, okay, well, herpes isn't included on that test, so you probably don't even know your herpes status. So I always say that, and then they're kind of like mind blown. Um, but yeah, and then I just am like very confident. I like to keep it very short and sweet, because I think it feels like you're overcompensating when you're giving like a ton of like stats and all of this stuff. Wait until they have questions, and then you can kind of educate. But I always just say, cool, like I was tested XYZ. I tested negative for everything. I do have herpes, or I'll say like HSV2. And then I'll be like, it's basically just cold sores, just in a different location. Like, do you know what that is? And then kind of see how they respond. And usually they're like just uneducated and just ask some questions. And that's when I pull out all the safe slut education. Um, but yeah, it doesn't have to be this big scary thing. It's just a conversation with a potential partner who's already in love with you anyways. So just tell them.